wanted to talk about separation anxiety disorder in children. We quite often see separation anxiety as a common symptom in especially babies who go through a clingy phase in general, and this is often between kind of 8 and 12 months, but it can be ongoing. Now, in children who may have separation anxiety disorder, which is kind of the next level of that attachment and worry about being separated from a parent or from their caregiving figure, you might see some certain symptoms. So I'm going to list off 8, 9, 7 symptoms that are common if your child is displaying signs of separation anxiety disorder. So number 1 is that they have a worry that is kind of irrational or ongoing about something bad happening to the caregiver when they leave. Number 2 kind of follows into this, so the child also might have an unrealistic fear that something bad is going to happen to them if they are separated from their caregiver. So a child who is really reluctant to separate for either feeling like their parent is going to be harmed or that they are going to be harmed, parent or caregiver. Number 3 might be if they're school age, nursery age, kindergarten age, that they refuse to go to school or leave at the beginning of the day and separate from their parent. They might have complete meltdowns about this. Leading into that, number 4 is that they quite often will refuse to go to sleep without a parent or caregiver present, or that they'll need to be checked on frequently because they're worried about going to sleep. And again, some of this goes back to 1 and 2, that fear that something bad's gonna happen, that fear of abandonment. Number 5 is that they are afraid of being by themselves at all. So in any situation, it might be in even a different part of the house, that they would be afraid to be alone. If they don't want to be separated from you, number 6 is that they might kind of have frequent somatic symptoms. So things like headaches, stomach pains, just generally they might say that they feel unwell a lot of the time and don't want to go to various events or school or wherever it might be. Number 7 is if they have a lot of nightmares or kind of they're talking about stories or fantasies of separation and bad things happening to them. That's a warning sign as well of separation anxiety disorder. And number 8 is that they might frequently have issues with bedwetting or incontinence. And that's quite often, again, a sign of separation anxiety disorder. So if you think your child has separation anxiety disorder, it's important to remember that quite often this can be connected to something that is a trauma or that the child perceives as a traumatic event or a loss. So if there is a time that something traumatic has happened when they've been left, or if you are a foster parent or an adoptive parent dealing with a child who has issues with attachment, that can be commonly a trigger of this separation anxiety disorder later on in life. Other things could be, for example, things like if a family member has passed away, if recently a pet has passed away, or another loved one in their life. If they have had to move a lot, children can develop separation anxiety disorders as well. And if they've witnessed kind of violence or trauma in the home, that is another trigger for behaviors like this. So there's not a specific set out pathway that kids follow, but often there is something that can be perceived as a traumatic event. Another one that we don't often think about is children that have had surgeries or children that have had significant health trauma and spent time in hospitals. And another thing that can also trigger this too is if you are an anxious parent, this can also affect your child in different ways because they absorb some of that anxious energy as well. If you have anxiety about leaving your child, children can pick up on that too. So I just wanted today to kind of highlight what separation anxiety is, some of the triggers of it. If you are dealing with separation anxiety, I'm going to make another video on kind of how to deal with it, but I suggest working with a behaviorist, working with the school around a plan for when you drop your child off, and also doing what I call kind of gradual exposure to being left alone. So for children, coming up with a schedule of gradually exposing them to that feared situation. For example, if it's going to sleep, First, check on them every 5 minutes, then check on them every 10 minutes, then check on them every 20 minutes, and kind of extend that time period and just reinforce every time that you see the child that you're coming back and that they're okay. If it's with school, maybe it's that you drive to the school with the child one day, maybe you leave them for half a day. Maybe they have a safe adult at the school that you meet with them and kind of help to encourage them that this is a safe place for them. But don't buy into always this separation anxiety fear, because avoiding situations that cause the separation anxiety does make it worse for the child over time. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope to see you next week for another video. Don't forget to check out my links below. If you suffer with anxiety or have issues with anxiety, I have some great free resources. So check those out at the links below, and check out our Facebook page for all of our awesome updates in one place.